The minutes,
Move to approve.
Second.
motion made to approve and seconded. Any discussion? It's pretty good.
And this side where you see the screen. Between us.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We're voting on approving the minutes.
I love it.
All those opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. The first thing on the docket tonight is a variance application to construct a 15.5 by 20 foot addition to an existing dwelling. I'll turn that over to
It opened.
open the public hearing, sorry, thanks for reminding me. What time is it?
6:32.
6:32, so this public hearing is open.
Okay.
And as I stated, we'll hear all the particular legal descriptions and everything and what's about to happen here. Turn it over to you.
The proposal is to add an addition to a house that is existing. That existing house is, so this is one drawing, and actually I've got another one I can pull up that's a little bit more accurate. Or actually, it's in front of you, the handout there, of the drawing.
Thank you.
So the existing house is this heavier black line. It's about 3 feet, a little bit less actually on that handout that's in front of you. At the front corner, it's about 2.5 feet away from the property line. It angles back to the property line, and so by the time that they're gonna do the addition, it's about 3 feet or 3+ feet away from the property line. The minimum setback required is 5 feet in this zoning district. And so the reason they're here for the variance is because of that being closer than 5 feet. It's a 15.5 by 20 foot addition to get some more living space, and I think it was a bedroom and a bathroom.
Bedroom and laundry.
Yeah. So Mr. Wobble is here, and he's here on behalf of his parents,
Yes.
who own the house and are looking to do the addition. So that's the short summary. There's there I just noted in the staff report there that there's a couple issues. One is that this lot that it's on is actually 2 parcel IDs. And in order to, the ordinance does make some provisions to allow for additions and changes to buildings that are non-conforming on non-conforming lots, but it still requires a minimum width to these lots. And in order to meet that minimum width, it would have to be combined into one lot. So I don't know if there's going to be a problem with that. That was one thing to talk about and see if it could be required as a condition of any approval.
How is it 2 parcels? Front and back or?
No, north and
South.
south.
Yeah, I'll show you here.
Right here.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Right there. So it's one, they must have bought 10 feet, I think it was,
10 feet at one time.
from the neighbor way back when.
Is it 10 feet to the south or to the north?
North. The north.
Okay. That's the way I read the description too, but I wasn't
Yeah.
quite sure.
So actually, it's complying as far as if you do join the 2 lots together.
No.
Well, it still doesn't meet the setback, but it
Just
at least
only-
makes
the
a lot.
setback would be the only thing that would be in question if the 2 lots are joined.
Yeah, what the ordinance requires is that your lot be at least 70% of what is required today
Okay,
in terms of width and size. And so when you combine the 2 lots together, it does meet that 70% standard. If you, obviously one of them doesn't come close to meeting it because it's so skinny, but
how wide is that lot now?
it's 45 feet, I think it was,
With both of them together.
35 with 10. With both of them together.
35.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a narrow one, but there's a lot.
There was actually a 35-foot lot once upon a time?
Yeah, it looks like that's all been subdivided up.
Yeah, there was some land taken off of this. So when you look at the legal descriptions, it kind of describes
Okay.
what it was, but it was like the north 35 feet of lot 7. So lot 7 used to be, I think, 40 feet. I think they lost 5 feet on the south, and then they gained 10 feet on the north.
You have 5 to get 10.
What a deal.
Too bad it wasn't on the south.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, in this case, it doesn't do me any good, but
So
this
yeah,
problem.
that property line setback is on the south, and that's what the variance is that they're asking for. It's about 3 to 3.5 feet instead of 5.
Is there anything else we need to know about this? Any other?
Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, I guess. If it's not approved, there isn't any other options, because there's no way to enter the addition from the house.
Yeah, it's a garage to the north of it, right?
Yeah.
And I was talking with Mr. Wellvogel before about the little gap that's in between the proposed addition and the
Mhm.
garage, and that's because of a lack of a foundation or a code foundation under the garage. Actually, under the whole house.
No, where we're being attached to the house, the west side of the house does have footings.
Okay.
There's a basement underneath that.
Okay.
But to the north is mainly a garage, and there's no, from what I can see, there's no footings underneath it.
so how wide is that gap gonna be?
Well, it depends on what, Dave, what Dave will approve.
Okay,
If I can go tight, we have some type of a joint that will move, if the
Oh,
garage
okay.
moves, some type of a slip joint, then I can go tighter. I left the gap there just so that everybody knew that it's possible not, that we wouldn't be attaching to it.
okay,
In which case, we'd have to make some type of a gutter system to catch whatever water would get down in there and divert out,
okay.
so.
Any other information?
No, I think just the main question to me is whether there's any other option, and whether maybe a smaller addition to meet the setback or moving it somewhere else, but it's pretty tight on that lot, so.
And the west side, that west wall on the inside of the house, that's where the steps go up to the upstairs. And on the one end, there's to the south, where we're going over the 5 foot mark, there's a window there, and that's where the doorway would go to come in. On the other end, there's a step up and a step down, and the floors, that's where they turn and go up the steps on the inside of the house. So it would be pretty tough to come in from the inside corner.
Right.
This is just a one-story addition.
One story, yes. And I'm trying to get them off the upstairs,
That makes sense.
so.
We used to try to keep you off the upstairs.
I was in the basement. So, and I just wanted to note that the addition, if it's in line with the house, does get further away from the property line, because it's on a little bit on the right.
Bingo. Uh-huh.
The only other question I would have is now this variance for the 5 feet, is that 5 foot, is that where the footings go down, or where the pillar goes down, or whatever we determine to use?
Yeah, it would be the footings as long as the eaves don't get extra wide.
Okay, so is it,
2.5 foot eaves.
is it possible to cantilever over to get even with the house if and then the footings would be the 5 foot setback, but the house would hang over a foot or two?
I think in that case, if the whole thing is cantilevered, we would measure we'd still need the variance.
To the outside of the house?
Right, okay.
I think
If it's
that's
just like
how
a bay window, then that would be one thing, but if it's the whole house,
Okay.
Isn't that what we determined outside of measurements?
outside measurements is.
Right, as far as square footage.
How about a tapered entry where the corner of the addition would be at the corner of the house, and then we could taper back with a little bit of a hallway, so to speak,
Oh,
back to the 5 foot, if that would, it wouldn't be ideal, it wouldn't be handicap accessible, there's not enough room for that. If I get the 5 foot, there'd be room for a handicap if we ever needed to.
yeah, I guess that's up to the board if they feel like.
Right, so that's some things that I just guess I wanted to throw out there, that, there would be another option if that would be allowed, or the cantilever or whatever, but I didn't know, what the 5 foot actually where it started, if it was at the house or the footings. So,
Did any of the neighbors respond?
We had the one in the packet there that the neighbor to the south was in support of it. In support of the variance being granted.
I just saw that guy too.
Mr. Kimmon?
Yeah.
He says he has no problem with the variance.
No problem,
Or-
he thinks it's a good idea.
Is that his actual residence or is that on his property?
Know that guy?
I don't know if that's his actual residence, but I'm sure somebody here
Well,
does.
I don't think he lives there. I think
Right.
He owns that. He lives elsewhere.
That's what I thought, that's just one of his rental properties he owns.
Yeah, correct.
No further information, close the public hearing at this time.
Can always sit and, then always stay in and
okay.
you'll tell you what we think.
That's just
Okay.
if there's public here to listen or ask questions.
No, it's open to the floor. Any concerns, anything they want to say?
I guess I don't see any real problem with this variance because the house is already
Right.
less distance than that to begin with.
It's grandfathered in that section.
Yes, I realize that, but I
Yeah.
mean, it's not changing from
It's
that.
not changing, it's actually getting further away.
Yeah, it's interesting that it's crooked on there. But there again, it was probably laid out long before the street got there too, so.
Thing is, though, if somebody's house burns down a lot, it's not conforming, they can only build the same footprint, they can't. Just because it's 2 feet from the line doesn't mean they can put a new house on 2 feet from the line either, it just grandfathered what was existing, not for new additions, so. Granted, I
Actually,
would love to be the nice people who remember what you do one, you gotta do all, and
Yeah.
But the lot
unless
is
you have
also,
reasoning
the
to,
lot would probably be unbuildable in the future if you had total destruction.
right? What is it,
Because it's a
60%
40-foot
or
lot.
50% or?
It's the 70% of
70%
60
loss.
feet. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
If there would be a fire or destruction, did they can rebuild if it's over a certain percent or?
Well, yeah, there's statute that talks about 50% as the standard, but there's also some new statute, relatively new, that talks about complete replacement if it's in the same footprint,
Right.
you know, or not an expansion up or down or out.
And a variance doesn't cover that same footprint then, does it?
If the house were to burn down or get destroyed in some manner today, they could rebuild it to where it is today. If you grant the variance and then they have some kind of disaster that goes down, they could rebuild it to what the new building was.
Oh, they could, okay.
So it is kind of making it permanent is which, you know, kind of the sticky thing with this is that, you
So
know,
Jeremy says you're setting a precedence for others, but we've never had one come in that they weren't extending beyond existing.
I think certainly if they were getting closer to the line, that would be.
It would be a-
a situation to say yes to.
And the sight line is maintained.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're looking down the same side of the house. You know, we've got a lot of situations like that around town with small lots, non-conforming lots. I'm sure that this isn't probably the only house that's built within 5 feet of somebody's side lot, especially on some of these
Yeah.
smaller lots. You know, so the situation may arise again, but I don't think there's that many.
my house I live in was 12 feet from property line until they came through with the new technology and measured everything and shifted all the properties south.
Now you're on your neighbor's lot?
I'm 3 feet away. I can't put a ladder up there and without going onto the neighbor's property. So when I bought the property, it was fine, you know, because we went off the old markers, but that's changed.
Yeah,
You know, that's just what
we'll
you're
find a
creating,
lot of that.
what you're creating here too, or, you know, you got the house built to the line, you got a 16-inch overhang, you're a foot from the line, you know, you can't even throw a ladder inside your house to get up or down or anything either, it's just either,
Gotta stay friends with the neighbors.
yeah.
There
Or
are
else use a
some,
pump jack. Have to use a pump jack. Go straight up.
Yeah, but here's the deal, I mean, it already is, it's not like they're asking for an addition to go over, you know what I'm saying, even more. It's just lining up, it's moving away from the line more. And I realize that this is why he's here for a variance, correct? So if somebody else came for a variance, we wouldn't have to necessarily grant them because we did this one. I mean, we're talking about
We
this
look
lot.
at it the same way.
We would, but I mean, we're gonna discuss it, I mean, maybe there's this tilting in.
Right, but the
It's
next
not
one, the
gonna be
neighbor comes
exact
and
same
then
thing.
the neighbor's against it, and then we don't grant it because the neighbor don't like it.
But can we
And
do all
then-
these what ifs? Their
Well, you
house
have to
burns
look
down.
at, yeah, you have to look at the what ifs.
Yeah, to a point, and then
To a
after a
point,
while.
I mean,
The
how long has
criteria,
that house been there? That's why it's on a super small lot, because it's been there forever and
1880.
ever and ever. That's why you know what I mean? I mean, some of the stuff we have to kinda,
the criteria for a variance come from state law, and they start on page 4, 1-4 of your staff report. So it starts with number 6 in the findings and facts section. Number 6 is the first one of the state criteria, but, is it going to be in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the zoning ordinance in this case? And I talk about there that the reason we have a setback is for air and light, to prevent the spread of fires, and prevent property line disputes and those kinds of things. I think there are some, I know you talked to David a little bit, but I don't know if you're intending to put windows on that side of the addition?
There would be 2.
Yeah, I think when you're that close to the property line, there might be some extra requirements to have windows. And I don't know how prohibitive they get with cost, but I think part of that is because of the fire, potential for spreading of fire. So that's the first criteria, and then there I talk about the size, the lot being within the sizes that do allow building, even though it doesn't meet today's standards, it's just, barely big enough that it could still be built on if it was a bare lot today, as long as the 2 lots are combined into one. Is it consistent with the comprehensive plan? The comprehensive plan doesn't really address something like this, so that's not real helpful there, but is the proposed use reasonable? Is the problem there, the challenge they have unique to the property and not something they've created themselves? I think clearly the lots were created a long time ago. And, I don't know when all these property transfers occurred, the 10 feet on the north and the 5 feet that was lost on the south side.
That was back in
That's a long time ago.
yeah.
Does it alter the essential character of the locality? And is it just for economic reasons that they can't meet the rules? And then is there some other way they can alleviate the variance needed? So that's where it gets into maybe the ramp or the passageway that goes to the rear part that meets the setback. So as long as you're going through those criteria with this one and any future applications, that's the main thing. If you have findings that support your reason, consistent with those criteria, those questions. So if you can come up with a motion that supports, you feel like you've met those criteria, or the applicant has, and you can defend it, then that's what we should state in your motion is.
Any other discussion?
If you do decide to grant it, I would suggest that one of the conditions be that you combine the 2 lots, so it is,
right.
doesn't meet that 70%.
I think that's just a quick claim deed, so something like that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
It's easy to,
It's a simple form that they don't care.
I'll make a motion to accept this variance with the stipulation that the 2 lots be combined on one deed. Is the correct word, or?
Parcel.
On one parcel, okay.
Hearing a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any more discussion?
Ben, is this the time you want to add their findings of fact?
So the findings of fact, I guess the primary question to me is, is it in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the zoning ordinance? So if you can,
Oh,
make statements about the why, why do you feel like it's met this? And if it's,
I guess I feel it met it because it's not going any farther than the existing building. Like Ray brought up before, the sight lines are gonna remain the same.
okay.
They're still gonna be, it's gonna be a flush wall or a flat wall, if you will, on the outside of the house. The fact that the other house is only 2.5 feet from the corner, it's gonna continue in that same sight line.
So the granting of the variance would be in harmony.
Would be in harmony, there you go. Thank you, Mr.
With the
Wordsmith.
general purposes and intent of the zoning.
Yes,
Maybe you wanna make a motion, he'll second
yeah,
it.
yeah, there you go. Here, let me write that down.
I think he's just making sure they're on the same page here.
And when we present
See
this,
item 6.
There you go.
when we present this to the council, we'll have it kind of worded out, consistent with your
Okay, yes,
your logic there, so.
thank you.
And probably that the circumstances are are unique to the property and not created by the landowner.
Yeah, it's not,
So with those two things in mind, which would be
That is
item,
one.
item number 9,
item number 9, thank you.
6 and 9.
Okay.
What's this whole?
So the wording would have that, I think we'd probably generally,
All the other findings as I've written them out, I think are in support of your.
Right.
Those criteria
Second
being
in
met,
here.
yeah. So it's mostly the 6 and the 9 that were kind of
Would be the two
the
things
question
there.
marks, yeah.
Yep.
And number 12, I guess, too, it could be alleviated by some of them.
Yeah,
yes.
And there's enough surface there for drainage and, okay, all looks pretty good. Well,
So-
hearing nothing, go ahead.
Hang on. So we got a 15.6 addition, so is that what we're gonna grant, is a 15.6, or we're gonna grant a 18-foot, or, you know, what do we got for a distance in here?
If you could go up to 16 feet,
You know, 'cause then it's-
that would.
oh,
that would
okay, I
give
didn't
you-
realize it was changing, okay.
That would give me
Oh.
room to go all the way to the other building.
You could say
To
in
line it
addition,
up.
as long as it doesn't go any closer than those dimensions that are
So
listed.
this thing, you mean?
Oh, okay.